I got super into making pancakes for a while, like see if I could make a Mickey Mouse or a Darth Vader. Like, there's some pretty butchered attempts. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, like, there's something great about that. Like, why not? Why make just circle pancakes all the time?
Hi, dear.
Hello, Mother. I'm just gonna wander around the backyard and look at surfboards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Enough there to...
Oh, hey. Don't worry about those surfboards back there. I hide surfboards here for a living. That's what I do. They're everywhere. Okay, going in. This is one of my original Sarich, summer of '87. First sponsor, Greg Sarich Surfboards. This logo right here, Peter St. Pierre, hand-drawn. They called me the mouse. I was the mouse back then. It's got the little swamis in the background. I only surf swamis. I had zero concept of what was happening in my surfboards at the time. I was more like, just like, dude, the sickest green and blue airbrush sponge thing, whatever you want to call that. I mean, this is probably a huge step, was like making smaller fins, right? Like, oh, it's for a little kid, let's put little fins on it. A ton of V in these things. The rails are super square and boxy. This one's 5.5. I could ride this board today. Shaped right here in the backyard. I used to go in there and watch them shape and just trip out. Every once in a while you'd see a blank fly out the door, like into the grass, and he'd come out and jump up and down on it, like screaming, because it had like a twist in it or something, and he was just going through the fight. My dad built this for him, so he had a place to shape. It's not a shaping room anymore, but it's definitely storaging things right now. Look at that. Should I go digging? Just some suitcases in the way and board bags, more board bags. Look at that. 5'10", Kelly, shaped by Al. Got a little pinner and a little squash. I went to Florida to surf in a contest, and I stayed at Kelly's house. I wanted to go for a surf, so I just grabbed one of his boards and I ran across the street, and it happened to be this surfboard. It was like every time I caught a wave, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, this is magic, you know? And so I eventually stole it. I stuffed it in my board bag. I don't remember if I told him or not, but inevitably I ended up contacting Channel Islands and asking if I could order a board. The trajectory that Al was on was so crazy. He took it upon himself to really like break down like what I was doing on a surfboard and how could he make the best surfboard for me. My boards were totally different than Kelly's boards. Like, I'd pick up Kelly's board or go ride Kelly's board, it felt different. It felt different under your arm. And I think that's why like we all had so much success during that time period. Going thinner and the rails getting pulled down and pushing the rocker to its farthest place. So I want to apologize to the general public for putting out surfboards in the late 90s that were virtually impossible to ride. Okay, you're gonna have to look the other way. Can't show you where the secret key is. Okay, we're in. Yeah. Don't know if you recognize this one. This was the original Biscuit. At first, it was very novelty when I got this board. It was like, oh, that's cool, 5'2". My boards at the time were 5'10", 5'11". I was riding this thing, and then when you put this thing next to it, you're like, huh, there's a big difference. And I caught a couple of waves, and I started like weaving through the tube, and the idea of having way less nose up in front of me like felt so cool, like my front foot being up and having just less area sticking up. It enabled me to pump in the tube and not have this nose that would go down and close to the lip line. And I was just like, wow. wow. It became like my favorite surfboard at that moment. I started just taking this on every trip, everywhere I went. Being able to float and fly over anything just without doing anything was like, where's this been all my life? I like this world between this and the high performance shortboard. There's so many options of what we can do and where we can go, and it was like the exploration begins. From Skip Fry's to Malcolm Campbell's. I just loved seeing like people exploring all these different realms, and I started ordering boards from all those people. I didn't live through those eras. Like my first board was a single fin, my second board was a twin fin, but those were like, I was so like premature in my surfing career that like I didn't get to experience like and learn how to ride those kinds of boards. And so that was my goal, was like I want to feel and like learn how those boards work and what makes them work and everything. Then came this time when I was like, hey, I'm going to start making my own surfboards and have my own brand. Hacking tails off and re-templating things and exploring all these new realms of little mini eggs and these fishes and these little, I don't know, man, low rocker and like thick nose, beaked out like thrusters. Like it was just like combine the old with the new. Like what is that? What happens when you do that? I started hanging out at home a lot more, and you're not surfing 6-foot perfect waves all the time. Like you need boards that are going to generate speed for you, and the more speed you can get without using a ton of effort, like the better. And so like that's kind of been my goal. Like let's make surfboards that go fast and are loose and fun and free and just like give you all this time to explore. It was the Go Fish and the Midas, and then not long after that was the Seaside. This became kind of the board, the one board quiver. If you're gonna go on a trip and you need to take one surfboard, this is it. I could go anywhere in the world and be stoked. It kind of doesn't get old. Like I keep riding it and I keep coming back to it. It's like that gift that just keeps on giving. It just stokes me out. Every time I ride it, I'm like, oh yeah, this thing's really fun. You know, the hardest thing for me is to be done with a surfboard. Like this isn't it. Like I'm not like, oh, this is the Seaside, cool, I'm done, I'm out of here. What if I stretched it out a little longer and narrowed it up and made it a little thinner? Like that is the constant evolution, right? I look at every surfboard I ride and see and say, wow, what if I took that little piece of it, combined it with that little piece of it? I really want to evolve my surfboards to make surfing around here easier and funner. I needed boards that were gonna skate and be flying over flat spots and then still be able to knife a turn in a tight little section. You know, I want everyone to go out and have a good time. Like come in smiling and be stoked. Like, oh, I love this board. It's so easy to ride and it just makes my life better. It's kind of that simple in my life.